Like a kid with a new toy, I decided to play with the little 5-inch quad a little bit. Probably shouldn't have. No, I shouldn't have. And I wasn't doing any tuning or anything, wasn't configuring it. I just gave it the minimum real quick to fly. Blew out all the checks for arming, etc. I did do just enough to where I could fly it. Radio calibration, accelerometer calibration, that kind of stuff. And tomorrow and Sunday supposed to be really terribly windy around here and terribly rainy. But tonight, it was the calm before the storm. So I decided just to go play. Just the evening was nice, 65 or 66 degrees. It's just been a nice day around here today. So let's look at what went on. This thing is a handful right now. I'm going to tip this camera up because I think we're going to see a whole lot more up in this video than anything else. Did you see all the oscillation in it? Let me get closer. But gee, Mr. Wizard, I don't want to get closer. Thing scares me right now. Try it again. I had to dump the throttle. It just oscillates so much that it's causing the darn thing to shoot up in the air. I'm gonna go cut the PIDs in half. Okay, let's back up from this creature again. I don't want to get real close. And it's still bad. Can you see it? I mean, it flies. You see it? You can see it and you can hear it. I'm going to go cut them in half again. Okay, we'll try it again. First out of the box was unflyable. That was terrible. I couldn't control it. I could control it after I cut them in half, but it still was not easy. Hopefully this will be better. We'll see here. Well, the oscillations are still there. It doesn't seem to be working. I'll go cut them in half again, but I'm losing faith in this particular problem. But it is flyable. I can't control it, but it's far from what I consider ready to fly. Well, I've cut them in half 4 times now. What the documentation says to do isn't working. I flew it before I videoed it. Let me show you guys what it does. Trying to bring it back to me and hover it. It's hard to do with it acting like that. Look at that. So I'll go in the video and show you what I've done with the PIDs. I can fly it, but not that well. Crazy, isn't it? Let's check the emergency motor stop.
Motor disabled. Nope, that isn't set up yet either.
As I said, I was just playing around with this, so I wasn't really following my normal setup, just shooting from the hip. And I didn't do this. So this is probably set way wrong. So let me do this and then we'll try it one more time. So it's 5" and it has 6 cells. That's all I want to put in there right now. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll go ahead and write these to the flight controller. And let's copy that down so I can go back and remove that. I'll never remember that if I don't do this. Write that down. Take a snapshot of it. There we go. Now then, I suppose those parameters are written. So I can verify that real quick with a compare here. Yep. I'm still going to click right again. And I am going to save that to a file real quick. Just temp. All right. I think I put the PIDs. Yes, the PIDs are back where they were for starters. Then we went over and actually did this setup. Now we'll try this all over again.
So I went back to the original PIDs. I did the frame setup, and now let's see how it works. So notice it isn't flopping around as much as it was before. So you can still hear the oscillations in it. So I'm going to take it inside and cut the PIDs in half again, and then we'll try it again. Okay, the PIDs have been cut in half from the default values. I'm trying to get a few flights in tonight while there's virtually no wind and before the storm comes. So here we go again. Whoops, that wasn't the throttle. I moved the wrong thing. It flies much better now, but I could hear oscillations in it still. So I'm going to take it indoors and I'm going to cut the PIDs in half again. Okay, I've cut the PIDs in half twice now again. Let's see what we got this time. It's nice and smooth and controllable, but I still hear something in it. I don't like it.
Motor disabled.
Yeah, I tried the motor stop again. It works now. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I think I'll cut them in half one more time just for kicks and grins. Last attempt tonight. The wind's coming up. It's not as calm as it was. It's getting kind of late and getting towards dark, so let's see what we can do here. Okay, I'm bringing it over next to the camera. Can you see the little white tag on the power lead? How it's flopping around. It's still got vibration in it, but it's fairly flyable. But I think I'm just going to drop her right down there. Whoops. And call it a night tonight. And let's start reading more. I still want more of the vibration and oscillation out before I even start doing auto-tune, notch filtering, or anything. It's just kind of strange. But I've cut the PIDs in half 4 times. It is better. It does seem to get better each time, but Jiminy Cricket. So that's all I'm going to do tonight.
So while I was fixing up the video, I was thinking about all this, and it was just a fun little fly night. Lucky it didn't fly off to the moon. It certainly could have, especially at first there. Boy, it was totally unflyable. There was so much vibration in it. If you touched the throttle to move it up slightly, it took off. You just had to have nerves of steel to go ahead and lower it slightly. It was just, I've never had one that bad. Well, no, wait a minute. Last year, perhaps the flame wheel was that bad, but I never even knew notch filters existed last year or any of this new stuff. So, it was, like I say, just a fun fly night. I did enough to get it flying. I did enough to calm down the oscillations to where I would be at the point of first flight probably. But while I was doing the video, just before I get ready to render it here, my final statements, I just decided I'm just going to start right here like you should. Click on configuration, start reading. A lot of this I've already done. It's going to not take much time at all. For instance, I don't need to read this. Frame type configuration, did it. Motor numbering, order and direction, did it. This is the motor directions, did it. Had to set up the BL Heli, had to set up all of that. Had to go into the BL Heli suite and reverse the direction on some of the motors. All that stuff. Like I say, just basic flight. That was what I was just trying to do. Real easy to do. Did the radio calibration. The accelerometer calibration. Not in this order. Did the accelerometer calibration first because that's the way it appears in Mission Planner. Didn't do a compass calibration, though this GPS of iFlight, ooh, it's been locking up 15 and 16 satellites just really quick. And I'm talking about in the basement. I never checked it for what it was doing outside. I've got several telemetry files to download. So far, ooh, nice. Terrible to fly from out of the box. Just a real bronco. But other than that, so far I like this thing. Haven't done the compass calibration yet, of course. I did do my normal modes. Matter of fact, I just copied over my Chimera setup on my radio to the Evoke. I guess that's what you call this thing. I've got to go back and do much more of this. I have not did any kind of ESC calibration. The BL Helis frequently don't need it, but I just didn't work through this list. So was it something I did? Because there's so much trouble with that in the past couple of years that I think everybody avoids it. Didn't do the motor range. That's optional. Hadn't done that on the other ones. Of course, I didn't set up any fail safes. I just copied the flight modes over from the Chimera. So I will work through this to make sure everything here is done correctly, that I did it correctly this afternoon, because I was just doing it off the cuff from memory and sort of following what it says. You know how that goes. Down the list in Mission Planner when you go into setup. So what I did was just come over here in Mission Planner and go down mandatory hardware. Did the accelerometer calibration. I skipped compass. I did the radio calibration. I kind of skipped the servo outputs, ESC calibration. All the rest of this I skipped. And we now see that I should have done that frame setup. This is Ardu plane loaded on my little bench flight controller that I can throw up real quick, so it's not copter, so it doesn't have that frame set up in there. Can you get that to come up otherwise through the old method? Whoops. That's for another video. So that's basically what I did. Copied a few things over from the Chimera just by going in and against this build, saying compare and saying compare with this parameter set, uncheck all, and then I just slid over so I could see what was going on and started running down this list real quick and going, yeah, I like 8 satellites instead of 7, though the default is 6. I'm just a little more demanding, and just went down these real quick. You know, you don't use battery amp per volt on this one because it's not the same ESC. It's not an air, there's no airspeed sensor because it's not an airplane. So I went down through these parameters and picked out what I wanted to choose from them, and just got a basic setup in it. But you know, besides the little fun fly tonight, I'm just going to have to go back through this, like I say, and just, it'll be real easy to work down through this part because the only thing I need here is the build. And this is going to take me 5 minutes. I can't really finish the build now because the Walksnail's not in it because it's not in the house. So that would change the vibrations and everything based on that weight and being in the platform and where it is in the platform. There's going to be more of that weight in the back than there is in the front, I bet. So, I can start going through some of this. And then I'll be worked up real quick to first flight, which was basically what I was doing today without reading the documentation. Just going to do my first flight, and my first flight, boy, God, that thing, oh man. Without doing that frame setup and on the default PIDs, it is a terror. But even cutting the PIDs down a couple of times without doing that frame setup or whatever it is a terror. I mean, just a and one of the biggest problems with it was that the throttle was so tweaky. And because it was vibrating so much and the accelerometers were going so crazy, it just kept wanting to head for the moon. If you tried to give it just a hair of up throttle, it was like trying to go bye-bye really bad. And cutting the PIDs in half settled that down enough to make it flyable. But doing that setup, utility, whatever it is, let me find that for sure. So I just jumped out real quick and loaded our Copter on that bench flight controller so I could show you the actual perimeter, and it's called Initial Tune Perimeter. And like I say, last year when I was playing with the flame wheel, I didn't even know this was, I knew it was an optional thing for past few years, but it wasn't actually in the build, and I don't think it was in the mission planner at this point at that time. And boy, it looks like it really needs to be done in this order. Because this looks like this is high priority. I'll make a different video and just express to everybody so everybody gets the word that big red sign on this function. So when I came in and did this, the initial tune perimeter, I'm going to leave that for another video too. So we'll come back in, like I say, and I can quickly get to this again on the little 5-inch. First flight, that's basically what I was playing with today, was if there was any kind of oscillation in it, get rid of it. So, alright guys, thank you.